Hello everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another live stream here at my YouTube channel. Big thank you for starting about a half hour late. Had a little scheduling issue earlier. Had to push it back a little bit. Hopefully you didn't mess anyone up. Today I'm going to be playing with Distress Oxide inks and kind of playing with them in more of a watercolor fashion. This was a request from Jennifer Fountain. She's one of my premium members here at my YouTube channel. I ask my members fairly often, at least once a month, like, hey, do you have any requests? And this was one that she requested. So today, when I was coming up with an idea for what I wanted to do, I went to my list that I've been compiling and I thought, that sounds interesting. Let's do something with that. Hello, everyone in the chat. So many people talking about being in super hot weather. I hear you. We had a lot of rainstorms over like the last week, kind of craziness. All this craziness with this rain, but anyway. Oh good, Jennifer Fountain's here. So this is great. Okay, so I picked out a couple of color palettes of Distress Oxide inks and we'll see how it goes. For what the idea was. I've sort of wanted like a kind of like a gradient of like some colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. I think that will make this, well, if not look better, it will be a bit more simple when it comes to kind of getting things to blend. So this is going to be a very, very simple kind of background technique. In fact, I tested it out right before going live and I was like, this isn't going to take very long. So that's when I came up with a second color palette. So we're going to do two of them tonight just because they are so quick to do. Okay. So basically I'm going to be doing a direct to paper inking technique and then watercolor with that and sort of get like a striped background effect. So I'm going to start with sponge sugar. And when you're applying it, you want to like think about hitting the top corner of the ink pad. So you're not going to have it like the papers right here. You're going to have it kind of tilted. So only that one side is going to touch the watercolor paper. By the way, the watercolor paper I'm using tonight is, oh, not that one. Sorry, wrong one. I'm using Fabriano Artistico Extra White. This is the cold press version. So I'm going to tip the ink pad. So I'm mostly getting kind of like stripe kind of texture. And that one really needs to be re-inked. So I had to press that pretty hard. But while the ink is still pretty wet, like if I tip it in the light, you can kind of see that it's still wet. I'm grabbing my watercolor brush and I'm just kind of softening that entire area. And then I'm going to add more water to my brush and try to pull that spun sugar down a little bit more. I can even tip my board so that the color might want to start like moving down because of gravity. All right, I'm gonna hit this with my heat tool to speed along the drying process so we can move on to the next color. Okay, I think that's mostly dry enough to move on anyway. So now I'm going to go to my next color, which is Picked Raspberry. And once again, I'm going to use the top corner of the ink pad to sort of add color like that. If you want to, you can use the whole surface of the ink pad, but I'm only going for like the top corner. Okay, so when I start to add water to this one, I'm going to add it to just where the ink was applied, and then I'm going to kind of pull it down like I did with the spun sugar. I'm going to tip my board up a little bit. And then at the tail end, I'm just going to come over here with a wet brush, and I'm going to go over that top line, and that's going to soften it, and then I'm going to start to pull it down. And just from gravity and starting to pull it down, it's going to soften all of those lines. Add a little more water to my brush, and I just want to come over this area right here one more time just because I really want that to be really soft. I've got like this speck of, I think it's a little bit of the brown hardboard here. It's really annoying. Okay, I got it. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here so you can see more of what's going on. But I really love how the soft edge on the top and bottom really wicks away that color. I think it's so cool. So I'm gonna dry this again and then I'll go on to the next color. And this would actually be like, wouldn't that be like a really cool background for a card? Just having it fade up to white. I think that'd be really, really cool. We're gonna keep doing color, but it's kind of a fun idea. It's not completely dry, but it's close enough to move on. So the next color is Seedless Preserves. All right. And once again, I'm just gonna tip my ink pad so only one edge is applied. I'm just trying to get like a good, well, I kind of went a little flat there, but that's okay. I'm gonna pick up my board here so I can work with gravity, wetting my brush, and it's gonna come in here and wet this entire area. In fact, I'm even going to come up here and kind of get that little bit that kind of squashed onto my board here. I'm going to try to add just lots of water here at the end to kind of get this to fade out as it starts to move to the bottom. I think that's kind of fun is that because oxide inks are water reactive even after they're dry, when I come in with a wet paintbrush and I go like this, it reactivates that Picked Raspberry and I can start to move it around a little bit. It's really fun. I get those colors to really start moving. We're getting some really cool stripe textures here. All right, I'm gonna hit this with my heat tool. Just to speed along the drying process. not for any other reason. Okay, so I was going to use Dusty Concord, but I think I'm going to skip it and I'm going to go straight to Chip Sapphire. Just because I'm really kind of feeling this like gradation. Okay, so Chip Sapphire, tipping my ink pad again, and I'm just going to add this in right here. I'm also not too concerned about not hitting the bottom of my watercolor paper because I'm going to be cutting this down for a card, so it actually would be better if I don't hit all the way to the bottom because then, you know, I've got room to cut things out. Okay, still going here. All the way to the bottom, and then I'm going to come back to the top and really soften this and start to move it up. It almost starts to have a little bit of like a faux dip dye look, which I love. Okay. Really adding lots of water on here, trying to get the color to really move. Okay. Anne's asking, does the oxide texture, the kind of chalky finish, stay after the wet technique? A little bit, like not a ton, but a little bit. I think it'd be really pretty to do stuff like this with like sunset colors. I think that'd be amazing. Okay, so I'm planning to put a greeting on this with gold cardstock. So I'm actually going to do some gold splatter. So I've got my Christmas watercolors from Yuli Watercolors. And as you can see, this gold, I've hit pan. So I'm going to use this other one. This is the color Star. This one is just Christmas gold. But this is just going to add a little bit of sparkle to this. So I'm just going to add some, like 3 drops, maybe 4 drops. I'm going to let that soak in a little bit. And I am eventually on my next one going to do silver. So I'm going to add some drops into silver as well. Okay. So when I do my splatter, I'm going to grab, well, I guess I could probably use the same paintbrush. Yeah, I'll use the same paintbrush. I was going to get a smaller one, but I think this size 8, I've been using a size 8 silver black velvet. Sometimes I like to use a smaller brush if I want smaller paint splatter, but I think it'll be okay if there's a little bit of some larger paint splatter today. I'm not too concerned. I am going to do my usual paint splatter technique where I put the paint onto an acrylic block, and that helps me kind of guide where the paint splatter goes. Okay, that really needs to soak in. It's not very thick yet. It's pretty thin. I'm going to do the same over here. Just mix it up, try to get it mixing. Let that water soak in. Okay. Come on, paint splatter. It helps to like really swirl your paintbrush in there. Kind of froths up the paint. Like, okay, how thick is that? Is that good yet? It might be okay. All right, so I just take my acrylic block and I scrape my brush right there on the side so that it gathers the paint. That's very fluid. I hope it's going to be stark enough. Okay, and then when I go to do my paint splatter, I just kind of go right off the edge of the block. Getting some really good splatters here, some big ones, which I love. Okay, I'm going to let that dry down. And then it looks a little bit dark right now, but once it's dry, you'll be able to see all that shine from the gold paint. Okay. I'm going to clean up a little bit of the paint splatter that's on my work surface too. And we'll set this aside for just a little bit. I'm going to move on to my other background. We're going to do a very similar fashion for this one, but we're changing colors. We're going to go Squeezed Lemonade to Cracked Pistachio to Pine Needles to Mermaid Lagoon to Chipped Sapphire. So there's 5 colors this time instead of just 4. So I need to think about that as far as spacing goes. And you know what? I think I'm also going to grab a new bucket of water because the water has kind of like a pinkish tinge to it. And I don't want any pink turning my Squeezed Lemonade orange. So I'm just going to get fresh water. Okay. Okay. All right, let's start with Squeezed Lemonade. Hopefully I don't need to re-ink this. Oh, we're good. Okay. Just kind of scraping that Squeezed Lemonade. And then I'm adding water. Just getting this color to start to move. It's not really going to show much until I start putting Cracked Pistachio on it. Okay, this is my heat tool. Laurie says, how amazing to have a sink in your room. Yes, I am very happy. That was one of my wishes for my new craft room. The next color I'm going with is Cracked Pistachio. So I'm just going to kind of, oh, that's such a lovely lemon lime kind of combo. I love that. Okay. While it's still wet, grabbing my paintbrush. Kind of spreading the color all across. And like I did before, I'm going to bring my wet paintbrush up above the Cracked Pistachio. Just try to get it to mix into the Squeezed Lemonade a little bit. Bring that down. All right, I'm going to hit this with my heat tool again. Okay, next color is Pine Needles. All right, I'm just gonna, this is an intense green. Just bringing those kind of stripes on here. In fact, I've got like a little bit of the actual ink pad. Move that over there to the side. Oh, I don't use pine needles enough. It is such a gorgeous green. Come up here and soften that top edge. Really get those colors moving. This is a really big section of green. All right, dry this again. It's a little bit like doing faux dip dye. Gives kind of a similar look. Okay. Sherry's asking how big my water bucket is, or my container of water. This is the size. Ta-da! It's like half of one of those circular bucket things. Okay, going on to Mermaid Lagoon. All right, and I'll just add that right here. We're just wanting to kind of start to transition into blue. While that ink is still a little bit wet, I'm going to come in and add more water. Get that kind of mixing. Yes, it is going to chipped sapphire here at the bottom. Okay, I love all these like strong like stripes of color. I think it looks really cool. Okay, and the last color we're going in with is chipped sapphire. So we'll just right there. Okay. Mermaid Lagoon to chipped sapphire. So good. Okay, I'm going to soften this top edge just a little bit. I love how like where it overlaps with the Mermaid Lagoon, it has like a different color than when it's further down. I think it just looks so cool. Okay. Yes, it does look like the ocean. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to dry this again. Okay, and my tape has completely come up from the board right there. So I'm gonna press that down. All right, and then we're gonna do silver paint splatter on this one. We should have a nice thick silver paint going over here. Now that it's been sitting there for a while, oh yeah, that's gonna be great. Put that silver on the edge of my block. if you're doing paint splatter off an acrylic block like this, and your splatter is really, really small, like little speckles you can hardly see, try using a larger brush. Okay. Sometimes you need a larger brush or just like a larger puddle of paint, if that makes sense. Okay. Oh, I love that silver. It just looks magical. All right. Clean off my block with a baby wipe. I'll clean off my work surface here too. And then I'm going to have to use a heat tool on the paint splatter for both of these because we need to move on. But we can't do anything until they're dry. So here are the two backgrounds. And I'm just going to try to dry this one as best that I can. Really keep the heat tool moving. In fact, I think I'm going to grab a paper towel and I can sop up some of the really big puddles because I don't want to like scorch the paper. You know what I'm saying? All right, so just take the corner into that big puddle, pick some of that up. And we've got quite a few larger puddles over here. And sopping up some of the paint, some of the silver and gold paint. It won't affect it too much. It'll still look great. Oh yeah, that was a good move. Now things are drying. Okay, by the way, I did want to let you all know that of the Christmas Yuli watercolors that I use, the most often used colors, I've already replaced this one. I just bought a new one of this one, and I've also used the silver quite a bit. They actually sell, Jeannie over at Yuli Watercolors, she sells a set. It's just the half Merry Christmas set. I just ordered it. And it comes with, like, these three are the ones that I use the most, especially for holidays. And then there's also Christmas green. So there's Christmas apple, Christmas silver, Christmas gold, and Christmas green. And there's some of my most used colors from that entire palette. So if you're wanting to try these paints out with like the bigger pans with colors you think you might use more often, this might be a really good set. You could also purchase them just, you know, one pan at a time. You just wouldn't have a tin that comes with it. But I believe she does sell empty tins as well. So anyway, just so you know, once again, that is the half Merry Christmas pan. And when I add the supplies, when I'm done here, I'll add that to the supply list as well. Okay, I think everything is dry. I think we're good. So I'm going to remove them from the board. If I can. I've got like super long nails at the moment, and I'm like learning how to like learn how to craft with them. I'm using scissors to like pull up the tape. You know, whatever works. Okay, there's that one. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to turn these into, I think, 5x7 cards. So I'm going to use my Waffle Flower A7 layers dies to cut them down to be slightly smaller than an A7 card. Okay. So I'm thinking maybe like this size. Yeah, that'll get all of it. Okay, and just because there's a lot of paint on this and I want to keep my cutting plates clean, I have like a little bit of scratch paper that I've been using when I die cut. Let's put that right there. Yes, Laura, nails are jewels, not tools. Okay, oh, it looks like I didn't even need to do that. Well, maybe a little bit. There's a little bit of color right there. Okay. And then the pink to purple, about like that. Okay. But also the other thing that's nice about die cutting after the fact is it really flattens it out. Like it's completely flat now. Okay. A few more pieces to die cut before we start assembling. I told you this was going to be really, really fast, like live today, just because I'm keeping the cards really simple. You could actually make the cards as complex as you want, you know, like anything you would do with like a regular background, you could do with this. Okay, these dies are all sliding around. Come back. Please be nested again. There we go. Okay, and for my greeting for these cards, I decided to do the Simon Says Stamp Paper Hugs. This is a die that I did for Simon, I think a few years ago. But it's just such a good, like, generic sentiment. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I've got two cardstocks. I've got silver and gold from Sizzix. These come in like a pack. I think it has like 5 different types of each color. And these are the brushed metal versions. So, will that fit there? Oh, I think it's going to be close to that little spot right there. So we'll come up here. Okay, so there's the gold. And then for the silver, oh, they're so pretty. Oh crap, I cannot pick up the die. There we go. I'm like, I'm not breaking a nail. You know, though, if my nails did break, it wouldn't be that big of a loss because I've just been waiting to trim them down, waiting for a good moment. The good moment has not come yet. So, I mean, I've even like scratched my face with them. And I'm like, nope, nope, still going. Still growing them. Okay, so, oh, it wants to move. We're going to tape it down. Sometimes I cut into the magnetic mat. Other times I don't. I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible because the more you cut into the mat, the more it warps the mat. So I'm just going to use a little bit of tape just to hold it in place. I didn't mean to tape it to the cutting plate, but that's what happened. Okay. Run that through. Vicky, I did get the new Dazzle Dry colors. I've already swatched them. Okay. The bad part about having it taped to the cardstock is that it's a little bit harder to get everything removed. So maybe I learned my lesson. For the gold one, we will just have it cut into the magnetic mat. It really doesn't want to come out, does it? Okay, let me grab, where's my little pokey tool? Okay. My craft pick has walked off. I don't know where it is. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself if I don't have it. Oh, here it is. Whew, that was close. Okay. Like those tools you use all the time, like tweezers, stuff like that. If like suddenly you don't have them, you're like, wait, what? How do I do it? And you know you did it before you had them. You know you did stuff like that before, but suddenly you can't do it. For whatever reason, this one is really stuck in there. Come out. I don't know why. Maybe just like super thick cardstock. I mean, it cut it. Okay, so there's that one. And we will just go ahead and do it straight into the magnetic mat. I think it'll be faster and easier. Cut this out. Yes, yes. And sometimes I just like throw it on the desk and that'll do it too. It'll knock it out. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that was a lot easier to get out of the die this time around just because it wasn't already taped to it, you know? Okay. Do have to clean out the die though. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna just get some card bases that are already prepped and ready to go. Oh, I really need to make some more 5x7 card bases. I'm down to like 4. Okay. We can just put these directly down. I'm gonna grab some foam tape. I like to like pop these up. All right. Just adding some foam tape around all 4 sides. Some might say this is overkill, but I like to make sure that, oh, hello. My die cutting machine has a ghost. It's turning on my die cutting machine. No, it's just that I put my plates on top and sometimes the plates will hit the button. Just dropped the foam tape. Come back, foam tape. I also started cutting my foam tape instead of just tearing it, especially when it's on like the outer edge of your layers, just because I think sometimes people get curious. They're like, how did they put that card together? And then they tip it on its side and then they can see where everything was torn. And I'm like, maybe that's not a good look. So I started cutting it so it looks really nice on the sides. Okay. The paint I used today, the color was Distress Oxides, and the paint splatter are from Yuli Watercolors. IUILE watercolors.com. I'll also add a link once I'm done here. Oh, it's going to be really close for how much foam tape I cut off. This is all I have left. This is going to be real close. Left that I've cut off the roll, I mean. Oh, I need just a little bit more. Like this much. Okay. I'm tempted to cut out that paper hugs a couple more times so it can be, you know, thicker on the card. But maybe not. Okay. So they're going to go like this. I love that. Just super simple gradings. Love it. All right, I'm going to grab tweezers. I'll just add a bunch of adhesive. I'm just trying to make sure I get most areas, especially on the ends or like on the G right here where there isn't anything attached to it. I want to make sure that I have glue on that area. Come on. There we go. Sometimes just doing little dabs of glue is faster than squiggles. Okay. Putting it in the center, but sort of more near the top. Let's hold that down. And I'm going to take my paper weight, just put that right there on top. And I can come over here and we'll glue this one as well. So seriously, not bad. 2 cards in 45 minutes. Doing so good on time. I wanted to let you all know, next week, you will not want to miss my live. It's a special one. I will be announcing something that I've been working on for months, and there will be giveaways involved. And yeah, so you won't want to miss it. And you have to be watching live to win the giveaways. So won't want to miss it next week. It will be at 6 p.m. Mountain Time next week, unlike tonight, which was a half hour late. It will be at 6 p.m. So you won't want to miss it. Just a little heads up. Okay. And Sika happens to know what it is, actually. But Sika's sworn to secrecy. Okay. All right, so there are the cards. Oh, those golds match so well. Awesome. Love that. Okay, I'm going to do a quick little spiel for those watching the edited replay that I'll put up tomorrow. And then I'll stick around for just a few minutes if you have questions. I think there were a few questions that were coming up in the chat and I didn't have a chance to answer them. So we'll get to that in a minute here. Okay. So here are the finished cards for tonight. I love how that little paint splatter kind of brings out the grading, but it still lets the background really shine and take center stage with all the color. Fun way to use some oxide inks. You could do a similar thing with watercolor or regular distress inks. Any of your water reactive ink pads out there, you could do something similar where you're adding the ink directly to the paper and then wetting it with a wet water brush. You could definitely do that. So that is the video for tonight. Thanks so much for joining me. Just want to give you all a heads up that next Monday, have a special live at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. There are giveaways involved. You have to be watching live to win them. So please watch live if you can, and it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for joining me for this edited live, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm gonna put some scissors away, stack some ink pads, and if you have questions that I missed earlier, or if you have anything that are coming up now is the time. Okay. Yeah, the yellow just looks awesome on that, doesn't it? I love it. Oh, Lisa, you joined my premium membership. Thanks, girl. You're so sweet. Those of you who are members of my YouTube channel, we have one of our monthly lives tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. If you're unable to join me live when I'm doing that, that's okay. You can watch through the replay later. It's just not edited down. And that is when I do my member lives, it's basically like you're just watching me while I'm filming a regular video. So they're a lot of fun, especially if I go into more detail on color theory and painting and things like that. You can get a lot more instruction. So if you have ever wanted to get a little more info on things like that, you can join my premium membership. And when you join, you have access to all the ones that I've done since the beginning of the year, which is when I started my premium membership. So you have that whole back catalog of a bunch of no line watercoloring and different techniques and things like that that you can watch in real time with no editing. And I talk through a lot of it too. So it's lots of fun. So thank you, Lisa, for joining. I saw that you joined at the very beginning of the live. So fun. Let's see here. Beth, I always feel like I should be giving her a giveaway. Oh no, I got to give back to you, girl. I got all you guys. It's lovely. Sika says, my lips are sealed. Sarah's asking, giveaways open to international too? Yes. Yes. Let's see here. Let's see here. Gina's saying or asked, what influenced your choice of the silver on the green and gold on the pink? I could go either way, really. But I knew the gold, since it's more yellow, might compete with the more cool tones of the Squeeze Lemonade. Over here, it's just a cooler color palette in general. So silver, to me, fits a little bit better. Over here, there's warm purples, warm pinks. So that lends itself to the gold. But really, silver, I think, is the ultimate neutral. It can go with gold. It can go with warm or cool tones. But gold, to me, sometimes I just really only want it on warm stuff. I don't know. Personal preference, I guess. Let's see here. People got 6 ads? You've had 10 ads? Oh, that's ridiculous. Are they pop-up ads, or is it total make you stop watching ads? Because I have it set so it's not aggressive. That's weird. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm going back down to the bottom just in case. Have I seen the new US round? I have. Karina's asking, have you seen the new US round steps? They're based on pins, and they have all different sayings on them. They're so cute. I think I over ordered. I think I had got 6 sheets. I can't wait till they come out. Laura's asking, what's the Dazzle Dry product you can't put Revive in? Base coat. The base is special. She's a special little gal. She's the only one that you have to warm up before you use. So she can't have Revive. That's the one. And also, when you use the base coat, you want to make sure it's dry before you paint anything else on top, because if the base isn't dry and then you pick up some of it with whatever you're painting on top and then go back to your bottle to pick up more of that, it can contaminate your other polishes. Like the base coat, she's special. She is in a league of her own. She needs to be warmed up. She cannot have Revive in her. She's special. Sue's asking, is 6 Central Time? No, for Central it would be 7 p.m. It's 6 Mountain Time. When I schedule it, it'll have a countdown and you'll be able to see what time it is for where you live. Okay. Oh, Kathy says, I struggle with the inside of cards. I have a video on that I did, I think back in, gosh, 2020, where it was just some like tips on how to write meaningful messages inside of your cards. If you search here on YouTube for inside meaningful messages or inside cards meaningful messages, it should pop up. Wow, you guys are getting like 10 ads? Okay, Heather says they've been pop-ups. And Jennifer says, make me stop watching ads. Like they're ones where it pauses the live. Wow. Okay, well, I will look at my settings because you should not be getting that many. Weird. Huh. I wonder if I like changed the setting or something. Weird. Okay. I will say I pay for YouTube Premium. I have for many years, almost since it was first offered. And it's so lovely. I watch so much YouTube. It's worth it. Cheryl is saying, what are the new round stamps? Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone and then I can just show you. They are based on like pins that people wear, like circular pins. Let me see. I'm pulling it up on my phone. Pin back buttons. Okay. So they look like this. Let's see that up close. So they've got really cool lettering on them. And I mean, they're just so colorful. They're going to be so great for mail art. Look at this. Stop it. That smile up there, rainbow. There's a couple of designs on here that are more rainbow. So it's going to go right up my alley for all the mail art I do, like the happy here and the smile up there. So dang cute. I love this love up here and the cheers, hello. They're so cute. Yes, I think I got 6 of them. I also bought these recently that have already arrived. These are Dungeons and Dragons. I thought that would be really cool for like my nephews or my husband. I just think it's so fun. Yeah, so those are the new postage stamps. Oh, Betty Ann says, I pay for ad-free YouTube. My best investment ever since it's my main form of entertainment. Same. Totally worth it. In fact, I think just like a couple of weeks ago, I finally was like, my husband would like, oh, watch this video. And he tried to show me on his phone. And then there would be an ad. And I'm like, dude, babe, we got to get you YouTube Premium. And then I realized that it really wasn't that much more just to have a family plan. So I ended up doing a family plan. And then since my husband and my mom, like we're all in the same household. They're both on the family plan now. So they have ad-free YouTube. I thought that was great. Uh-oh, Mindy says, I tried to get them from the post office and they were out. Yeah, order online. It's not any more expensive to buy them online. They're the same price. And depending on how many you buy, I think you even get free shipping. Ooh, and the UK had beautiful ones for D&D. Love that. Yes, the carousel stamps are so good too. Oh no, we're getting more and more people that are having ads right now. You know what? I do know that like if I wanted to, I could, I mean, I'd have to figure out the settings a little bit, but I do know that I can control when the ads are inserted. So I could plan it. Like if I'm drawing something or doing something tedious, I could be like, okay guys, time for an ad. And I would just give everyone an ad at the same time. I could do that. I'll look into it. Kathy says USPS does charge shipping. I swear I've gotten free shipping on orders though, but maybe it's because I order way too many stamps. Ooh, that could totally be it. That's too funny. Yes, postcards. Is that the UK one you're talking about? Sometimes USPS has like envelopes or like special things that they do with the artwork from their postage stamps. I think it's really fun. I really love when they do t-shirts. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, just a reminder for those of you who are members, we have our member live tomorrow morning. Also, we have our crafty Zoom Friday nights for members as well. So you can join and we'll do a little crafting on Friday night just for a couple hours. I'm going to be swatching a watercolor palette, so I'm not doing anything too crazy, but it'll be fun. We can just chat on Zoom and whatever. And yeah, some fun things coming up for our members. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching tonight.